Welcome to the Fabasoft webinar, 5 tips to consider when choosing your cloud content platform. In just a half an hour, we will give you a comprised overview on what to look for in a content cloud provider and present you 5 tips on how to modernize your corporate content management strategy. My name is Isabel and I'll be your moderator today. We are really happy to welcome our guest speaker, Cheryl McKinnon, Principal Analyst at Forrester Research, who will reveal the 5 top factors to consider when evaluating cloud content platforms. After Cheryl's presentation, Andreas Dangel, Business Unit Executive Cloud Services at Fabasoft, is going to demonstrate how you can use the Fabasoft Cloud as a content services platform in order to digitally extend your organization towards clients, partners, and suppliers. At the end of the webinar, if there's time left, we have a short Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please post them into the box at the bottom of your screen. I will collect and forward them to our speakers. If we don't have time to answer all of them, we will send you the answers together with the webinar recording in a couple of days. But now, let me hand over the microphone and the screen to Cheryl.
Great. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for the invitation to present today. All right, a moment while I display my screen. Great. So my name is Cheryl McKinnon, Principal Analyst with Forrester Research, and today we're going to talk about 5 considerations when you're looking to choose a cloud-based content management platform. In just a few minutes, we'll go very quickly through the need to look at digital business and the important role that content and collaboration play. We'll then take a look at the 5 things to consider and wrap things up so I can hand it over to our host at Fabasoft for a demonstration. Now, at Forrester Research, for the last several years, we've been talking about the importance of organizations in terms of building a more customer-oriented or customer-focused business. We've called this the age of the customer. And it means that organizations are making software investments, they're reorganizing their business models to really focus on being customer-centric and making sure that they can serve their clients, their prospects, their partners in the most effective way. Now, every year we take a look at those top market imperatives that organizations must face as they transition their business to this more customer-oriented model. And for 2018, the top market imperatives include the requirement to drive revenue with a fantastic customer experience, the need for businesses to differentiate themselves in their own markets with digital, the need to use customer insights, which means data and analytics, to gain competitive advantage, to accelerate their growth by investing in marketing, innovation, and automation, to transform their technology investments to better win, serve, and retain their customers, and of course, to secure their customers, protect the data, and protect their brand. And I think in the context of this webinar today, the importance of differentiating with digital, the importance of accelerating growth, transforming IT, and of course, the security component are most relevant here today. Now, some of my colleagues at Forrester over the last couple of years have been researching, what makes a successful organization as organizations continue down this path to digital transformation, this shift to more digital way of working. And the organizations that are successful in this transition often have common characteristics. Those common characteristics are that they're led by customer requirements. They're very customer orientated. They're driven by insights, meaning that they've got information, knowledge, assets, data, and content that they can extract information from and make better decisions. They're fast, meaning that they're nimble, they're agile, they're able to respond to changing market conditions. And of course, they're connected, so they're sharing knowledge, they're sharing information, they're collaborative in nature. And the various components that organizations can, the levers that they can pull to move into this more digital way of working are, of course, structure, so changing actual business and operating models themselves. They have the ability to change culture, often to move into a more collaborative way of working. Ability to attract and train and hold talent. They're able to use metrics to measure success. Are they moving in the right direction to meet those business objectives? They're able to change the processes, to simplify, to be nimble, to respond to what their customers are asking for. And of course, finally, they're able to use technology as a competitive advantage. So these are some of the common characteristics that organizations who are becoming successful in the digital workplace share. So if we think about the content management market, we know that there are new demands coming from organizations, often coming from the customers, the partners, suppliers that we need to work with. These new use cases are shaping how we look at the content management investments that we're making. And in fact, we see there's a lot of interest in the content management market of looking at fresher systems, looking at cloud alternatives, looking at the ability to use more modern platforms, again, to be nimble and responsive to some of the changing market dynamics. We also see that organizations increasingly want to include their trusted external stakeholders in the content creation, collaboration, and sharing experience. Organizations also want to be able to use their content much more intelligently, extract insights, use analytics, get metadata to get insight into how content is being used, how it's actually being effective. And of course, how do we balance this all with the compliance, the governance, and security needs that many of us have, especially those in regulated businesses. So as we look at this changing nature of the content management landscape, we know the cloud is playing an increasingly large role. The pace of change to adopt cloud-based applications for content management and collaboration continues to pick up speed. So let's talk about the first of the 5 tips in terms of looking at the right cloud-based content management platform. First, look at the systems that are going to help you better embrace your extended enterprise. And that means looking at those trusted, critical stakeholders that sit outside of the 4 walls of your business. Your clients, the consultants, the suppliers, perhaps even the regulators, subcontractors. These are all those trusted participants in your own digital businesses. Look at cloud providers as being more flexible and nimble, and often providing the pricing and the licensing models that helps you bring these external participants into the actual content sharing and collaborative workflow. Our data tells us that organizations want to be able to collaborate with their trusted subject matter experts. They want to be able to securely share documents with citizens or clients, and they want to be able to serve content through their partner or channel engagement requirements. So some of the data that we have tells us that year over year, typically about 60% of organizations do want some form of external access to their content systems. The second tip, reap the rewards of cloud-based content management and collaboration services. The benefits of moving to software as a service are present across several different factors. The data that you're seeing here in this chart indicates that organizations look beyond just cost savings for their top business benefits when moving to cloud-based applications. The top benefits, and this is not unique to just content management or collaboration, but across the board with software as a service, the benefits include improved business agility, lowered overall costs, but then speed of implementation and deployments, easier information sharing. These are the benefits that organizations are able to reap. When taking a look at cloud-based content management providers, there's actually 6 different areas that we recommend you look at when assessing a cloud-based provider. Take a look at the scope and the definition of your core use cases. Understand how the licensing and pricing metrics work. What are the particular terms and conditions at service level agreements? What's the right hosting model? You know, if you have data residency requirements, is a vendor able to store data securely in the region of your choice? And then, of course, what is the support? These are the factors that we recommend organizations talk to their vendors about to make sure they're selecting the right cloud platform. The third tip, focus on usability to drive adoption of these content management applications. User adoption has been a constant struggle in the broader world of content management over the last couple of decades. In fact, our 2017 data from our last ECM panel survey indicated that user adoption was actually the top challenge facing a number of systems. So put great usability and tools front and center when taking a look at cloud-based content management providers. I actually think that a great user experience is a security feature in itself because users are going to be attracted, they're able to understand how to use the tool, use it effectively, and it means it is much less likely to introduce shadow IT, or self-provisioned consumer-oriented file sharing or collaboration tools. So make sure usability is as high a priority as the security requirements. We know that a lot of sensitive content is being used in cloud-based content management systems. So really understand, what are the security requirements? Where is the data stored? Not just the content itself, but perhaps even the application and the metadata. Understand, are there the ability to put expiry dates, have access controls, watermarking, rights management on some of the sensitive content. So if we're using some of our cloud-based content management systems for things like due diligence, merger and acquisition, secure procurement, we know that it's a trusted workspace both for our internal employees, but also for those core external stakeholders that we need to share this critical content with. The fourth tip is to put agility, flexibility, and responsiveness on your priority list. If you think back to some of those top benefits that we talked about a moment ago in terms of software as a service, we know that business agility is key, and moving to cloud-based applications gives us much more flexibility when it comes to tuning, refining, updating the applications compared to traditional on-premises systems. Also, mobility is a really important consideration. We see more and more of the workforce wanting to be able to consume and create and upload content with their phones and tablets. But mobile is more than just being able to work remotely or work while you're on the road or out serving customers. It also means a rethink of process itself. Think about some of the processes and really focus on that great user experience. And cloud enables a lot of these mobile applications because of the ability to quickly upload, download, consume, and find information. Today, only about a third, in fact 36% of content management programs really enable mobile access to their end users. Another 35% plan to roll out more mobile access over the next year. So really think about how you're helping to better serve those field customer-facing workers. The fifth tip that we'll mention is to be experimental, try new things, avoid becoming digital prey. We know that in many of the industries that we work in, it's a very competitive landscape. And again, cloud-based content and collaboration services are going to help us be nimble, responsive to changing market conditions, and of course, be able to serve our customers with their changing requirements. Now, as organizations go further down their path to more digital way of working, often we'll start by bolting on perhaps a digital component to an existing manual or paper-based process. And that might be good from a starting point in terms of taking those first few steps. But over time, we really need to put digital first. Think about that digital business. Think about how that might actually change the products and services we take to market and the ability to better serve our clients. So businesses itself, the operating models, the way that we work is beginning to change. We see that we're moving away from traditional linear business to a much more modular and nimble way of working. So project teams may come together and disband for particular initiatives or projects or joint ventures. So the ability to keep content secure, but also flexible and shareable, get that knowledge base in the hands of the right person at the right time becomes even more key because of the way that we often change our working teams. So we see this evolution in content management, away from the on-premises systems of the last decade to more simple, nimble, flexible content platforms, helping organizations quickly build out the applications that they need, and then delivering them through that preferred interface, whether it's mobile, a line of business application, or even increasingly be able to serve things like mobile devices. So a few wrap-up remarks. Make sure that we're thinking about content in the future, not just the challenges of today, but those that you're going to be facing over the coming months and years. Be able to look at platforms that are nimble, flexible, and help you stay current. Consider the flow of information, the content and the data, the processes that they support, and really think about the importance of search, analytics, metadata. Make sure you're looking at tools that help you understand the role of your own extended enterprise, your critical trusted parties such as clients, suppliers, business partners, and think of that cloud strategy that's going to help you balance the needs of your business users, those busy information workers who need to move quickly, be able to consume content securely, but also be able to collaborate appropriately, and balance that with the compliance requirements that might be unique to your own industry. If there's data residency requirements, information governance requirements, security, privacy concerns, etc. So with that, I will now turn it back to our host at Fabasoft.
Yes, Cheryl, thank you very much. My name is Andreas Dangel, Fabasoft. I'm the business unit executive for the Fabasoft Cloud Services, and I'm really glad, following your explanations, that Fabasoft is really very focusing on providing such a platform that fulfills the criteria you mentioned with our software as a service solution. So maybe just before I will go to a demo, I will just show you what we mean by the Fabasoft Cloud platform. So we have a platform that's focusing on document management, enterprise content management, and business process management in a perfect symbiosis where information and the flow of information is tightly integrated, and it is a unique building block within the system. So this platform also, of course, has some capabilities that allow you to provide in a solution in a very agile, elastic manner. On the one hand, we have a tool called Fabasoft App Telemetry that allows you to fulfill service levels that guarantees that the performance, one of the major aspects of usability, corresponds to the service level agreements that we provide. We have a very strong focus on security, so encryption with end-to-end encryption with the COMO is provided. Data analytics was mentioned by Cheryl a couple of times. Mindbreeze is the component that helps you to understand the information that is that travel around with your business processes, and the possibility, of course, to individualize that platform to the very specific needs of our customers by providing a modeling framework based on standards like BPMN, integrated in an agile project management framework, and also an agile test framework that allows you to guarantee the quality of solutions, not only of the platform, but of individual solutions we provide. This platform is secure, is trustful. We prove that by many certificates we provide for security, for data protection. So our customers really can rely on a platform that is trustful and that is secure. For that platform, of course, a platform is nothing you can really use. We provide use cases, for example, digital personnel file management, contract management, digital asset management, that all tie together to a holistic system of all the information that an organization has to manage. Not only internally, but also especially externally, because most of the processes that are handled on our platform, of course, incorporate suppliers, customers, business partners as a full-featured B2B, business-to-business platform. And not enough, even if these standard components like contract management really need to be customized even more to really fulfill the requirements of the very specific business of our customers. And this modeling framework I mentioned before allows you really to adapt the platform to the requirements the customers has. And mention here some reference customers that use very successful our platform over the last couple of years. I will just show you two more slides, two more case studies to show how this works. Georg Fischer is in the automotive industry. They are a worldwide company with about 15,000 employees. And of course, they have exactly the challenge Cheryl mentioned, to digitize the business processes, not only internally, but especially incorporating their business partners, suppliers, the OEMs, the automotive industry, and so on. And What the challenge they have is, of course, they need the traceability, they need the uniform access to information, the holistic access to information, and with all their previous approaches, of course, these things couldn't be handled in the way that a customer like Georg Fischer needs that, because information, there are different types of information, different participants, and if you have not one holistic channel, then this will get quite complicated. With the Fabasoft platform, the Fabasoft Cloud, Georg Fischer could model their business, their workflows, their business processes right out with the tool without individual programming, and really could address this transfer of information, this sharing of information, of course, respecting the security requirements they have as an industry that, of course, has IPRs to protect and confidential information. So what they developed or modeled on top of the Fabasoft Cloud was their supplier extranet, where they could now have this holistic platform where each involved party has access to the central store of information, of course, according to the defined access rights, the roles, but not only the information is provided, there is also business processes, workflows that follow the life cycle of this information for approval, for review processes, and so on. This even goes further with another application that's running Georg Fischer on top of the Fabasoft Cloud. They have actually plants where they use machines to produce cars for parts, and the tools that are used for producing that cars have to be provided by suppliers. And this information is not only documents, but it's very intensive metadata, processing data, even from the machines itself, that has to be incorporated in the business processes and in the workflows. And even such a application that goes in the direction of Industry 4.0 was just a model of the functionality of the Fabasoft Cloud to provide that specific solution. And once again, we have this centralized backbone for the information. We have the processes, the user interface that was modeled according to their requirements on top of the Fabasoft Cloud. And exactly that I will show you in the last 2 or 3 minutes. I'm here logged in as to a demo system. There's no production data for the different areas. You see exactly what I've presented on my slides. Here is the home screen of a user, Denver Meyer. He has access to several areas, for example, contract management, HR, skills management, GDPR-related processes and tools, contacts, and so on. Just have a look how such an application looks like that's running on top of the Fabasoft Cloud. Here is the contract management. I get the view, not in the classical order of an archive, but I have really a system where I can work, where I can live the full life cycle of documents like contracts directly in the system. So, for example, I have a calendar with all the relevant appointments concerning the contract management, and I can, for example, access the contracts to for a specific supplier. I don't get only the documents, but I get also additional information that is, for example, also synchronized from ERP systems to get that holistic view here for a person that is responsible in the legal department, for example, for contracts. So if I go to the list of the contracts and have a specific contract, then, of course, contracts are normally something that are archived internally, but especially when you want to integrate externals directly out of your archive if you want, then it's very easy just to create an external area directly out of the system, where, for example, when you look at the corresponding access permissions, exactly the contractual partner for that contract has a specific role in that area within your contract management. And I think this really is the strength that that you are not tied to the internal processes for the solutions running on the Fabasoft cloud, but you, in any circumstances, you can integrate in a very secure, with strong authentication, authorized communication and business processes with your externals. So this was just a generic use case like contract management. If we look at these customer tailored applications like the one from Georg Fischer I mentioned, then this is fully integrated to the system. So just give you some insights. I have this tool standards dashboard. I have the model of the business of Georg Fischer with their equipments that they have, the machines they have, for example, the deburring presses. I have all the relevant information at my hand, and of course, in the end, I have also documents that I have to share, that have to be approved, that have to be reviewed by the business partners according to the process. So you see also the presentation and the usability of information is very elegant, is very easy to use, so that you don't need training for using such a business application. You can use it just by authorizing your externals, your business partners to the system, and they feel well just by the clear structure of information and the use cases that are relevant for the context you're in and the role you have in the system. So this was the tool standards I mentioned, sharing of information, and the tool manager is quite similar. So they handle their projects. You have the reporting capabilities. If I look to a project and a specific tool, then you see there is a lot of metadata that has to be managed here. You have quite easy access to the forms to either enter this data manually or automatically with the model of such a form. There is also the web service interface integrated so that also applications or machines can feed data to the system to have the foundation for business processes to run on base of this data. And of course, once again, you have the use cases, the workflows that are relevant for your role directly here in the system. Okay, I think in 5 or 6 minutes that I spent for this demo, I could give you some basic insights how the Fabasoft Cloud looks like, how solutions on top of the Fabasoft Cloud look like. The very nice thing is that these things are out of the box available. So we offer trial possibilities directly on our website. We will send you some information how to access the trial so that you can set up, for example, a contract management or an HR filing personal file system just with a click. Have ready-made applications that can used immediately and can immediately support your digitalization strategy just in a couple of clicks. You can try these things for a period of time, and if this trial convinces you, then of course you are in production just with another click in our self-service shop. Thank you very much, and I hand over to the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Andy, for the interesting presentation. We actually did receive a couple of questions, and I will just start with the first one and ask Cheryl, what is the actual pace of adoption of a cloud content platform in a company?
Interesting. So some of the data that we had from our ECM survey indicated that typical deployment, typically comes in, measured in weeks or months rather than, many months or years. So probably around that 3 to 4 months is typical for a rather straightforward type of application. And that's in comparison to on-premises systems that may take multiple months or perhaps even moving into a year or more.
Okay, thank you very much. Unfortunately, our time is really running out. I will, as mentioned before, collect all the answers to the other questions and send them over to you together with the webinar recording. So all there is left for me to do is to thank you very much for attending the webinar and to wish you a nice remaining afternoon. And we, of course, hope to see you at our next webinar, which will take place on the 17th of April. Goodbye.